Yo, this is going to be a review of the Ghostglides Courage mousepad. It's a high quality pad that gives users a solid performance and a unique feel thanks to its material choice. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I've been using this pad for almost a month and I like it a lot. It is far from perfect and I'll cover some of the things that I don't like as we go through the features of the Courage. This pad comes in at $48 on Max Gaming, but I've seen other places selling it for $60, so make sure you take a look around and see if you can buy it at the lowest price possible. Alright, let's get on with the design. The Courage has this Korean manhwa artwork that showcases a female warrior demolishing a skeletal monster in this lovely Murim setting. I've always read a lot of Japanese, Korean, and Chinese mangas, and this design is just speaking out to me, especially with the different panels playing the combat sequence out. It's awesome. I will say though, and this is just me nitpicking, but the layout of these panels resemble more of what you would see in comics rather than a manhwa or manga. However, there's a lot more room horizontally than vertically on the mousepad, so it does make sense that they'll be able to fit more in with this layout. Once again, this is very trivial and you probably won't care much apart from noticing it initially. Korean or Chinese manhwas are also colored, whereas the Courage is black and white. I actually like the black and white better because it's a lot cleaner on the desk in my opinion, rather than having a bunch of colors making it harder to match your mouse with. Next, the surface. The pad uses spandex for its surface, which is commonly seen on activewear and sports clothing. It has its advantages over traditional fabrics, specifically the durability and comfort, but the comfort part is a little bit fake. Spandex is waterproof, so spill any water on this and it'll form a puddle that you can tip off onto the table. The stitch edges are not waterproof, so those will get wet for sure, but pretty good stuff from Ghostglides. Humidity also doesn't affect the surface, but plenty of cloth pads nowadays barely get affected anyways. The Courage is also more durable because of the spandex being flexible, so over time the surface is less likely to degrade, which is perfect if you're looking for a pad that'll last you 2 or more years. Spandex is soft to the touch and is great for comfort, especially when friction is involved. For example, when you go for a run, your skin will rub against the fabric of your clothes. It is pretty much the same here where your arm is rubbing against the surface of the pad, so this material should be a good choice, right? Well, sort of. It is pretty comfortable when I was using it in game and just swiping across the pad, but there are a number of pads that are more comfortable than the Courage. One of my favorite pads, the Lamsu Energen, does have spandex in it, but it's a blended surface between spandex and nylon, and that pad in comparison to the Courage feels less rough on the skin. Sure, the Courage isn't super rough, but if you have sensitive skin, you can definitely feel a little harshness when using it. I've seen some people call this a really fast gliding pad, and I have some mixed experiences with it. I would actually classify this as a faster balance pad more than speed because of two things. One, the speed of the pad changes depending on what skates you have on, and it isn't associated with how fast the skates are. For example, the URX stock skates run quite fast on the Courage, while the Lamsumaya stock skates, which are very similar in speed to the URX, have a noticeable amount of control. I have no idea why it is like that, but if you want the fastest glides, the X-Ray Pad Jades and Ghostglides Edge Runner dot skates are a pretty good pairing. The second reason why I have this as a balance glide is because of the static and dynamic friction combo. So in a cloth speed pad, you'll have relatively low static and dynamic friction. Some speed pads like the Neptune like to retain a bit of control, so they make the dynamic friction slightly higher, adding just a little bit of control for when you're tracking to make the speed more manageable. This is the complete opposite. The static friction here feels higher than the dynamic, and I feel like this caps the speed of the pad. Fast pads give you a really free experience, not restricting any of your movements at all. That little tug, especially when you change mouse direction, does take away that seamlessness. Even on the X-Ray Pad Jades, which give me the fastest glide when paired with the Courage, you can definitely notice the tug before you start moving, and this feeling is emphasized a lot more if you have a habit of pressing down the mouse on your pad. It reminds me of actual control pads that focus on having more stopping power, so they make the static friction higher than the dynamic. It's what I'm getting here, but at a much lesser degree. The pad still plays great. Yes, you can feel that tug, but I've had no issues doing small adjustments and tracking was flawless. This pad is not slow at all, but it's not super fast like what I've been seeing online have claimed it to be. The base of the Courage is really nice, uses a polyurethane material and is pretty OP. After having it on my desk for a couple of hours, it has a slight peeling sensation when you remove it from your desk, which shows how secure it is. It won't budge even when I use a lot of force. This is great. Overall build quality is also awesome. This ships flat, so there's no curling, very minimal fraying on the edges, and it's a well-made pad. There's this smell when you first take it out of the box. It smells like lemon dish soap. I've had it for almost a month, and if I put it close to my nose, I can still catch a whiff of it. I mean, some people might like it, but the last time I smelled lemon flavor dish soap was when I was having lunch with some friends, and the cup for my milk tea was not cleaned well enough. I bolted to the toilets in the mall and threw up after we left the restaurant. Great memories. Anyways, apart from the smell, build is close to perfect. Overall, Ghostglides have made something quite unique and honestly pretty good. Is it better than the speed pad I'm rocking right now, the Neptune? Probably not, but since the performance is solid and design is nice, if you're looking for a pad that's great for gaming and aesthetically pleasing, this pad has to be considered for sure.